Why is the Eucharist so important for the priest? The life of Christ had its crowning moment in his death and resurrection. And those beautiful moments of his death and resurrection are so personal for each one of us. Because he did it for me. He died for me. He rose for me in a personal way. He knew me in those moments of his death, agony, passion, and resurrection. And so Jesus wants all of us to be in contact with those moments. But how can he do it? Those moments happened 2,000 years ago in what's now the Holy Land. How can each person throughout history be in living contact with those moments? He finds a way. Love always finds a way. And he finds a way through the Holy Mass. Because in the Holy Mass, those moments become present. Even if a priest celebrates the Holy Mass in London in 2023, what is really happening in an invisible way, but a real way, is that those moments of 2,000 years ago in the Holy Land, those moments become present on the altar. And that is why the Mass is so important, because it puts us in living contact with the most important moments of the life of Christ. We need to be there. It's not enough just to remember it. When we say the Rosary, we do remember it. We meditate on those moments of the life of Christ. But in the Mass, we're really there. That's the great beauty and importance of the Mass. When we preach the Gospel, we preach those moments about the death and resurrection of Christ. But in the Mass, those moments are present. We're not just talking about them. That's why the Mass is so important. And that's why the priest is important. The purpose of the priest is to celebrate the Mass. Of course, the priest does many other things. The priest celebrates the other 6 sacraments, or, well, ordination perhaps, as a bishop. But the heart of the priesthood and the purpose, or the crowning point of all of the other sacraments, of all of the preacher's teaching, of all of the priest's leadership, is the Holy Mass, because it is the making present of the most important moments of Jesus' life on earth. And we need to go to those moments again and again, to be bathed in them, to be engulfed in them, because we need that living contact with those moments of the love of Christ, when his love was shown so clearly and when his mercy and grace were communicated to us so beautifully. That is the reason why the Mass is so important. And so the priest needs to take care of the Mass in his life. He needs to make the Mass the centre of his day. He needs to pour everything else he does into the Mass and take everything he needs out of the Mass. The Second Vatican Council said that the Mass is the source and the summit of the Christian life. That's true for every lay person, but it's especially true for the priest. The priest should celebrate the Mass to serve the people, so that they can bring to the Mass everything they've done since the last time they went to Mass. One of my favourite prayers of the Mass is when the priest says, "Pray, brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours may be offered to God." My sacrifice as a priest is everything I've done since the last Mass I've celebrated, but it's also the body and blood of Christ, which I offer to the Father by making present his death and resurrection. And lay people, when they offer themselves and their lives in the Mass, they can't do that. They can't offer the death and resurrection of Christ, his body and blood, but they can offer everything else they've done since the last time they went to Mass. All of the hours of work they've done, all of their family interactions, all of their social life, whatever it is they've done since the last time they went to Mass, they bring that. That is their offering at the Mass. And from the Mass, they take all the graces they need to sanctify their life. And so the Mass is the source and the summit. It's the heart of the Christian life. And so we need to always take care of it, to prepare for it very well, and to give thanks for it afterwards.